I be like, sheesh, sunset on the beach. Make me wanna pull up on Miami with the heat. I don't know about you, but I know about me. Summertime in Florida, catch me sliding on the key, yeah. Oh, something's happening.
Welcome back to the Anytime Sports Podcast Show. I'm Colin. I'm here with my other co-host, Andrew, and we got a lot to talk about. We took a week's hiatus as I was on vacation, and he was getting his house remodeled. That's one of the jerseys. As you can see, we're still working with this is a very temporary setup right here.
Yeah, because right now
our jersey is about to fall.
Yeah, right now, as you can see, we're at a temporary setup. We're at Colin's house. We're not at my house like we usually are, because my basement is all trash because we're redoing a bunch of stuff in our house. But we'll be here for probably the next 2 weeks.
So you'll have to see this setup, which is not that bad. But let's get into what we missed, Andrew.
Well, a lot of NFL news trades the last 2 weeks, pretty much the last week. There wasn't much the week before, but let's get into a bunch of news. First one, big news, Russell Wilson to the Broncos.
Yeah, that is a big move for the Broncos. They got to make moves. They didn't have a quarterback. They haven't had a quarterback since Peyton Manning. They had to make a move. They traded for Russell Wilson, which was a good trade. I think they were waiting for the word on Aaron Rodgers, because when Aaron Rodgers signed with Green Bay, every quarterback just went like that.
Yeah.
As we'll get into mention, there's some other quarterbacks that were signed today.
Yeah, and like we were saying in the past, we've said in past episodes that Denver's one good quarterback away from a Super Bowl win. We've said that multiple times. And I think he's their guy. If he could ball out, be like Russell Wilson, who we know who he is, he could do it. And another thing is, why do you think Seattle released him?
I mean, they're going through rebuilding. That team needs a rebuild. It's a very old team. I don't know if Pete Carroll's the right guy to rebuild it, though. Yeah. I think he's got his opportunity. I think he's got to retire and let a new guy come in. But they need to clean ship and redo everything, because what they've been doing there hasn't been really working as much as it has been in the past. So Russell Wilson and a fourth-round pick for...
Russell Wilson and a fourth-round pick for Drew Lock, Noah Fant, Shelby Harris, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a 5th-round pick.
And I heard a report today saying that don't be surprised if Drew Lock gets a shot at the starting job in Seattle, given they don't have any other quarterback. So this is the guy they can go with. I do like Drew Lock. I think he's got some time to develop. I think Denver didn't really... I mean, they gave him a shot, but I don't think they had the supporting cast around him. Maybe Pete Carroll could get that out of him. Hope for the best for Drew Lock. Hope for the best for the other 2 players. And Noah Fant, they got a really good tight end right there.
Really young guy, too.
Seattle. Very young guy, so...
And bunch of picks for the future. 2 first-round picks. That is huge. 2 second-round picks. That is massive. And for their specific rebuild mode, Drew Lock is not their guy. They need a quarterback. Potentially pick one up in the draft with those 2 first-round picks. But then, Drew Lock is going to be a temporary guy.
Definitely, he is a placeholder right now. And it's crazy how we can see all these teams making moves right now. Also, Bobby Wagner on their team has been released. He has been a Pro Bowl-like safety for years and years for them. He's going to try his luck somewhere else. He hasn't signed with anyone yet, but as soon as he signs with somebody, we'll give you the update. But Aaron Rodgers re-signs with the Green Bay Packers, to much of our non-pleasing. We don't want him to re-sign with the Packers, but he re-signs with the $200 million deal, a hefty price tag. What are your thoughts on the signing of Aaron Rodgers?
For Green Bay, I'm saying this as a Bears fan. I say it's time to move on. He's getting old. You guys,
he's coming off of 2 MVP seasons.
So he's going to still choke it in the playoffs. I've been saying this a lot. The Bears are getting younger. The Packers are getting older. That's just a fact. Right,
well,
re-signing Aaron Rodgers. Really old right
now. Let's be honest here. We're not going to be biased. The Bears are pretty old, even though they did cut a few players, which we will get into. They're pretty old.
And another thing, I want to go back to Bobby Wagner. I think they could have got some value for him, but I don't think teams are ready to quite pick him up yet. So, and I saw reports today that the Broncos Russ wanted the Broncos to pick up Bobby Wagner to go alongside of him because they've been longtime teammates. I think that's a good move. Denver needs that spot to fill since Von Miller left, but I think they should do that, and that's where Bobby Wagner should go.
Breaking news right now, reporting wide receiver Zay Jones has signed a 3-year, $30 million deal to the Jacksonville Jaguars, which adds to the Jaguars' list of how many people they have signed.
We'll get into that later.
Absolutely insane. The Jets just signed tight end C.J. Uzama. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that. For a 3-year, $24 million deal. That's pretty good to bring a veteran guy in there to help Zach Wilson. Yeah. So there's a couple other guys.
Yeah, we'll get into some more of the free agency that's happened today. We're filming this on the day free agency started, so we'll cover that more later. And then one other thing I want to touch on is how crazy it'll be seeing the Chargers, Broncos, and Chiefs all face off 2 times against each other a year. Especially the Chargers are building this battle unit of a defense.
They just signed J.C. Jackson as they signed J.C. Jackson to a 5-year deal worth $82.5 million. He's getting his money's worth in Los Angeles. So credit to him. It's a good signing. They got Derwin James now. They got J.C. Jackson.
Joey
they got
Bosa.
Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa.
They're building a unit.
Those are some good players. Of course, you need filler players to play because you need 11 guys out there to play on the defense. But those are some guys you could build around and kind of help Justin Herbert on the offensive side, help him with a good defense. So that's a very good thing.
Another thing is, I'm going to go back to Aaron Rodgers. I think, realistically, non-biased standpoint, I think great job by the Packers. You needed to re-sign him. He's your quarterback. He's got at least, they signed him on a 4-year deal. He'll be 41. I think he could play till then. Depends how he does. I still hope he chokes in the playoffs, but...
Yeah, that is very much so. And they've just went on a re-signing spree as they did re-sign the linebacker. Oh, geez, I had it up here. 1 second. Linebacker Devontae Campbell to a 5-year deal, $50 million. They're throwing money around like the cap isn't even an issue for them. Another news from the Green Bay side of things is Devontae Adams saying he will not play on attack. Yeah. Well, we heard this last season from players like Allen Robinson. They're not going to play on attack. It's a technique to get more money. He wants a guaranteed money. Aaron Rodgers has got his money. Yeah. It's time for Devontae Adams to get his money. I think he wants to stay, but I think he wants a better contract. Of course, they want a better contract because they're not winning Super Bowls, so you can't justify a pay cut if you're not winning a Super Bowl like that. Let's talk about the Calvin Ridley suspension. He got suspended for gambling, apparent gambling, and he's out for a year, right?
Yeah, out for an entire year, which I think is a little extreme.
Insane.
A little extreme for gambling. Even though it's number one of the rules, you got to act a specific way. You can't gamble. That is a rule. Calvin Ridley knew that, but I think a year suspension is a bit much.
I mean, for all these wife beaters out there that don't get suspended at all or fined, it's kind of where are your priorities there, NFL. But it's something we needed to touch on, needed to say something because Calvin Ridley was a good player and he was looking to come back to a new team. Really feel for him. I mean, I don't think he did anything wrong. I think it's just the NFL's stupid rules. But
another piece that I saw is Gesicki, Godwin, Schultz, and Jesse Bates all got franchise tag, which is great. Gesicki, top 5 tight end in the league. Godwin, probably a top 10 receiver in the league. Schultz, another top 5 tight end in the league, and Jesse Bates, an amazing backfield person for the Bengals. Yeah.
That's a really good tag by the Bengals. They needed to get him tagged because I don't think they had the money to kind of pay him. They went on a signing spree this morning. And they signed a couple offensive linemen. They signed Alex Kappa.
I don't know.
I don't know how to say his last name. To a 4-year, $40 million deal, according to Adam Scheffner. We're looking at our phones right now because all of our information is listed on our phones.
Yeah, we have our... we have our script up here, but all this new information for the free agents is on our
I have
phones.
my phone up to get live updates, so if there's anything that pops up, like we just said, the Zay Jones news that just on the Jags. And how about them Jags? Ooh, that flag is about to fall. How about them Jags? The Jags are really making a move in free agency. And, you always had those free agent warriors. A couple years ago, it was the Cleveland Browns that did so, and they're like, oh, he's going to win a Super Bowl. They're going to win a Super Bowl. Yes, you have a bunch of guys, but you need to put it all together. And we always say, like Dallas says, it's always their year. It's always Dallas's year. But they need to put it together, and they've never been able to put it together. And
they're getting a bunch of Do these things keep crackling behind us?
Oh yeah, that Cam Newton. I don't even think it's in shot, so we're good.
All right, yeah. There's a bunch of. My gosh, there's a bunch of.
Oh my gosh, this thing set is crippling behind us. It's all right. Oh, there goes one.
Julio.
Oh, there goes Julio. It's all right.
All right,
As
you
we
keep talking
I'll
about the Jags.
continue. Another notable signing for the Jags today. The Jags did sign Christian Kirk to a 4-year deal, $72 million max value of $84 million, so 72 like kind of guaranteed money there. That is a big signing for the Jags. He's a very underrated, if I'm going to be honest. Do you need some tape?
I got it.
He's a very underrated wide receiver. People are saying, oh, he's a top 40 wide receiver. Yes, because it was Kyler Murray right, Kyler Murray left, throw the ball downfield to DeAndre Hopkins. This guy is a good wide receiver if you give him a good quarterback. And definitely Trevor Lawrence. It'll be a learning experience with Trevor Lawrence. This could be a guy that you can just throw it up to and say, hey, this is your guy. And it could help him develop. I really like this signing. Christian Kirk is a very good wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Another signing. The Jags.
But add on that, Jags are making most definitely needed moves. They got their young quarterback, and they're getting a bunch of young guys. If not, they're slightly older guys, but if they want to win, they got to start getting some guys.
How do you pronounce this guy?
Florunzo Fatuski or whatever.
Anyway, he's a defensive tackle that just played on the Jets. They signed him to a 3-year deal, $30 million. Also, the Jags signed a linebacker, Foyte. I'm not even pronounce. He's on the Falcons. He was 54 last season. You can look up the information. To a 3-year deal, $45 million. So they're on a signing spree right now.
Jags are making definitely needed. They still got James Robinson. Now they're going to have Kirk as a receiver, possibly bring back Allen Robinson. He's still on the table. No one signed him yet.
Nobody has signed him yet.
The Jags also have Josh Allen.
The Jags are
they're building an ultimate team.
Oh, they're building a good
here's
team.
another thing. Me and Colin are going to try to go to a Colts game this year when we're at college. Maybe we could see Colts Jags just because they're building the ultimate team.
That would be a nice game to see. But let's go back into this.
Another thing I want to say is the Bears signed. This is their only signing of today. Larry Ogunjobi.
I think he's very good. I think
he's
that's
good.
a Akeem Hicks replacement because Akeem Hicks is going to go. I think he goes to Dallas, if I'm going to be honest. Dallas is going to sign because Dallas likes to sign all these older guys, as they just did sign DeMarcus Lawrence to a 3-year, fully guaranteed $30 million deal. So that's a huge deal. They re-signed him. He hadn't been doing too great, but they re-signed him. Happy he maybe retire a Dallas Cowboy.
Bunch of money going around everywhere.
Yes, free agency time is a great time. Another rumor going around is Russell Wilson is trying to recruit his former teammate, as you said, Bobby Wagner. Maybe he can come and give them support. The Dolphins. Ooh, okay. The Dolphins. You want to touch on the Dolphins?
Yeah, the Dolphins did sign Teddy Bridgewater as he was released from the Broncos. The Broncos are moving on with Russell Wilson. They don't need him anymore. So Teddy's pretty much a placeholder quarterback, a career backup to Tua. But we all know Tua, so Teddy might get some starts this year.
Yeah, Teddy is. They don't believe in him. I mean, with all the Deshaun Watson rumors and all that, they just don't believe in the man. And he's he's one of the best left-handers of all time, because given there's not many left-handers that have been in the NFL, but he's one of the best left-hander throwers of all time.
You're saying that, but what about Michael Vick? You're saying
Vick is number
best.
one.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I said one of the
Don't
best.
you dare say Tua's number 2.
Tua's top 3.
No, he's not.
Okay, we'll go over into the left-hand QBs later. But that is a good signing to add some depth to their quarterback room. Maybe help Tua out or compete for the job, because competition is always good. Another team that I said competition is always good, and I called it 4 months ago. Nobody believed me when I said it.
I'm not digging for the clip too. So if you guys have the clip,
I said the Steelers were going to sign Mitchell Trubisky, and he was going to be their starting QB. Well, one of those things happened today. Mitchell Trubisky signed a 2-year deal with the Steelers, probably a trial deal to duel it out with Mason Rudolph and Dwayne Haskins to see who can get the job. The most qualified right now is Mitchell Trubisky. He is the best out of them all, and I think he'll get the start.
I'm really excited to see him. I want to see for sure if Nagy was the problem or Trubisky was partially the problem for the Bears, but I think Trubisky's that guy. I think he's going to be that guy for the Steelers. He's still somewhat young. He has a good 10 years left in him, if not more. But yeah,
I know preseason is preseason, but
Yeah.
if you look at the preseason game he played last year, the whole game, I think he basically played the whole game against the Bears. He played absolutely outstanding. He looked lights out. I don't think it was his. I don't think many things were his fault. I think he was put in a bad situation in Chicago with a bad coaching staff, and I do think that he can improve on this coaching staff that the Steelers have. They have a very nice coaching staff. They've always had a very nice coaching staff, and they're always a very nice GM. They've been very good. It's a very good organization to kind of elevate your career. And the city of Pittsburgh, as long as you're winning, they'll take you in like nothing.
Definitely a good crowd to be around for Mitchell Trubisky.
You're gonna touch on Carson Wentz.
Yep, I was just gonna say that Carson Wentz traded to the Commanders. We know.
The Commanders.
Our manager, Bill, at work, he's a big Commanders fan.
Commanders fan.
I mean, I think he's a placeholder guy. I don't think he's the guy. He looked like he was the guy for the Eagles, led him to a Super Bowl. Then Nick Foles carried him in the Super Bowl. I think
Carson Wentz isn't terrible.
it depends how they play out with him.
I guess so. It just hurts for me to see like a team like Washington do the same thing over and over again. It's like Chicago. It's not the franchise guy. He is a placeholder, and of course, this draft really stinks for quarterbacks. And we'll go into our draft coverage later in the week. But you need to find a guy, and this was not the guy. Of course, there were a lot of rumors around Russell Wilson and stuff like that. And they called for Patrick Mahomes at a trade, which is ridiculous. They needed to get someone. They were trying to make a huge swing at the quarterback position, and you swung and you hit a foul ball. Here.
I mean, yeah, Carson Wentz, he's a guy. He could possibly lead them to a playoff run this year. They got Scary Terry. They got Gibson. They got Chase Young. I don't think it's going to be their year. I want to see Carson Wentz is going to be the first quarterback to debut the Commanders' threads.
Yes, very much so. Let's head into some Chicago Bears news. We're going into the releases first, then into the blockbuster trade that happened. The Bears released Eddie Goldman and Tariq Cohen. Couldn't get him re-signed. They're trying to get younger. I get the signing by the release by Ryan Poles, and I mean Tariq Cohen never really played after he got his injury.
Another thing we don't want to mention: Ryan Pace left a big hole for Ryan Poles, just because he left all these old guys, kind of like Khalil Mack, how he kind of traded him right away once the trades were open, or once he felt it was right to trade him. Like they released Tariq Cohen and Eddie Goldman. Those guys were getting older. Tariq Cohen was on 2-year injury. They got Khalil Herbert. They got Montgomery. They don't need Tariq Cohen anymore, even though he was hurt for 2 years.
The thing is with the Bears, Ryan Poles made this very clear for us through us Bears fans, made it very clear that he's building through the draft. He's trying to get younger and faster. Eddie Goldman is not fast. He's not as fast as some other defensive linemen that could be. He's a very good defensive lineman. He played last season. He played all right last season, but he was missing kind of the Akeem Hicks to his that pass rush was very good when they were together and all healthy. But I get the Eddie Goldman release, and I get the Tariq Cohen. Tariq Cohen's not your guy. When you come in, he's not the guy that you drafted, so you're not going to keep him around for forever. Tariq Cohen release. Sad to see him release, but it goes on. He may sign with another team and be pretty good. I could see him signing with the Chargers, which would be a really nice 1-2 with Austin Eckler and
kind of serve as
Tariq Cohen. But the Chargers are more getting to running back by committee now.
It kind of serves as like their Debo. If he goes there, he'll serve as like their Debo, be a running back and a receiver at the same time.
I can see that.
And another thing, hurts us Bears fans to say, Khalil Mack to the Chargers for a second rounder this year and a third rounder next year.
And I think they're actually paying Mack's contract to go to another team, which is very interesting. Maybe some things out of the scene. Maybe Khalil Mack said, hey, let's get a trade. Let's want a trade. Instead of going public, they went to him and they said, hey, can we get traded? I mean, he was hurt for the past 2 seasons. So this may be a move just to free up some cap for next year. The Bears are looking for next year. This season is already lost.
We're already planning that before the season.
They'll have $120 million in cap.
It's actually 130 because they released other guys. Yeah.
And not this season, this following season's draft. So they'll have a lot of move to make up then. Hopefully they show some promise, get some free agents there.
But I know, we're stating in previous episodes that they do need to release Khalil Mack. He's getting older. If they would have done it last season or a season before that, they could have got more. They gave up 3 firsts for him, and they got a second and a third back, which I think is pretty generous considering he didn't basically play the last 2 seasons and he's been injured. But he's 31. He's getting older. He's on his downfall. He's out of his prime. I think the second rounder is very helpful for the Bears considering they have 2 and possibly could trade up for a first rounder.
I don't think he's out of his prime. I think he's nearing the end of his prime, but I think he's a very good option for, say, the Chargers. I mean, that's a good pass rush you got there, a 1-2 pass rush. I mean, it makes total sense for the Chargers to do something like that. They're just trying to. It's very obvious it's a rebuild in Chicago by all the releasings and all the tradings. With just trust in polls. That's all I can say is trust in polls, and we'll continue on.
Yeah, we're trusting the polls moving. I'm excited for next year. Not this coming up year, the year after. Just because they're going to get so many guys through the draft. I think they're going to have a first again. And then they're going to have a third. I don't know.
But we'll talk about that later, but let's move on to the
All right, next one is Jason Kelsey is returning in 2022 with a troll video online.
I didn't see the video itself.
He was like drinking a beer. He's like, I'm excited to announce I'll be retiring from something else. And he's like, but I'll be returning to the Eagles in 2022.
That's kind of funny like that. The Raiders extended Max Crosby nearly $100 million extension, which is insane. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he showed he could play last year in their last game against the Chargers. He showed that he was an amazing player, underrated, but definitely much needed for him. And another thing, Deshaun Watson is
$98.9 million contracts. Whew. Max Crosby.
Oh yeah, Deshaun Watson is found not guilty, which is amazing.
Trials, which doesn't mean he'll have 22 civil trials, which he might have to pay out for. But hopefully justice was done. If it was, then good. If it wasn't, then
they're definitely something for teams to look into. I saw the Saints and the Panthers are looking to him. I don't know what the Saints are looking at with what money. I mean, because they don't have money. But the Panthers, most definitely, Sam Darnold is not their guy.
Mostly, if you don't have a quarterback heading into the season,
you're looking at Deshaun Watson. The Texans denied trading with the Colts though, so he's not going there.
Oh, that's the Burrow. I'm fixing
Fix it. All right, another thing I'm gonna talk about is Amari Cooper trade to the Browns for a 5th.
Rip his
and
career.
then they swapped their 6th.
Rip his career.
They did not. The Browns got a steal for Amari Cooper, and plus the Browns released Jarvis Landry too. So I really want to see where Jarvis Landry lands. There's a bunch of receivers that are open to get right now. Amari Cooper, he was a great route runner. He is getting older. He's still got years left, but I think a 5th and a 6th is very, very low for what you should trade for him. I think they just want to get rid of him. The Cowboys specifically, because they have CeeDee Lamb, they have all the receivers they have. What do you think about this?
Think about
Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper's career. Oh my gosh, I feel bad for him.
He's gonna have Baker throwing to him.
Baker was injured last season. We could all say that he was not as healthy as he should be. But the Browns, I don't know what they're trying to do here. It seemed like they're trying to trade away some players. They get some players. It's very confusing in Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, another thing is they were saying they'd accept trade offers for Baker Mayfield, which I don't know who would do that. So I think they're going to be stuck with Baker Mayfield again. And then with what offensive weapons besides Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt? Another big piece of news is Tom Brady unretired. We all knew this was coming. After like 40 days.
He couldn't give it up. He loves it too much. He loves the game so much that he couldn't give it up.
Yeah, I was actually surprised when he did retire. I think he should have went out with the Super Bowl win, which I think is what they're going to do this next year. They need to get some guys on the Bucs. They do have an amazing defense still. They do still have Chris Godwin. They do still have Mike Evans. But I really want to see what other weapons they could get for that offense, possibly if it's signing another running back, re-signing Lenny, getting maybe Allen Robinson, another wide receiver weapon for Tom Brady, and I think they could get a Super Bowl win if they are all healthy.
Yeah, another news for the Browns, they released Jarvis Landry. I don't know if we talked about that. There's also a new report, some rumors going around. The most 2 teams that are interested in Jarvis Landry the most is the Kansas City Chiefs and the Saints. Which one of those 2 teams do you see a better fit?
I'd say the Chiefs, honestly. They need another receiver. They have Tyreek Hill. They have Travis Kelce.
Tyreek Hill could be very hot and cold.
Yeah, they need that third guy. They need that strength guy. Jarvis Landry showed signs of being amazing.
He can be a great guy. He's a great locker room guy. I think it's a no-brainer to try to bring him in.
I think you would definitely want to go to the Chiefs over the Saints anyways.
Yeah, very much so.
Another thing is Cardinals re-signed Zach Ertz on a 3-year deal. He is getting older. We know they took him from the Eagles last season, but he was amazing with the Cardinals last year. We got to see what the Cardinals can do. They were undefeated for a portion of the season last year, and then they ended up... Oh, another one falling.
We're good.
And then they ended up signing Zach Ertz, and he helped him along the way. And the Cardinals ended up falling off in the playoffs. We don't know what's going to happen with them. If Kyler Murray was messed up towards the end of the year, we don't know. We got to see what happens with them next year.
Very much so.
Another thing is McCourty extended on the Pats, which is definitely a help for them. Another thing is Vikings extended Kirk Cousins for 1 year. We know they were going to try to release him this year, but they decided to extend him. Definitely a win for the Vikings. No one else really likes Kirk Cousins. We said he was underrated. I said in an episode he was overrated.
I think he's underrated.
I don't know.
To be honest. Well, his record is completely 500. He's won as many as he's lost. It's kind of, if you look at his record, he's literally 500, and yet he is so wanted by some other teams.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny how quarterbacks you're so desperate for a quarterback. It's kind of amazing. Are we done with?
The Cowboys re-signed Michael Gallup. The Bears were interested in Christian Kirk, which we know he went to the Jags. And another thing is the Bears are interested in Juju Smith-Schuster. How do you feel about him?
Juju can go dance his way back to TikTok and not come to Chicago.
But we need him in Chicago. We need that veteran receiver. We need a guy. Juju said he wants to go there.
DJ Clark. Give me DJ Clark.
We need a guy to offset Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney is going into his third year. We need another guy to help him out.
DJ Clark.
Oh, yeah.
I really don't want anyone else to sign. Did we touch on the Eagles signing, agreeing to pass rusher Harrison Reddick?
Nope.
For a 3-year deal, $45 million. They just make a good shot. And there goes DeAndre Hopkins.
He's not even in the shot, so.
It's not?
No.
Okay, good. Then 2 jerseys down, though. That's all right.
All right, and then another thing is J.C. Jackson to the Chargers and C.J. Uzomah to the Jets, which we already covered. Main thing for the Chargers this year is going to be defense. They're going to be a hard-pounding defense.
They're going to be a very good defense. I mean, that whole division in general is boosting up. There's a lot of teams that are selling and getting rid of players. That team and those divisions are just piling on.
Another thing is the Raiders. To compete in that division, you're going to have to make a big move.
They're going to have to make a big move. They're going to have to make a big signing. I don't know what it is. It's boosting up that offensive line, or is it getting another pass rusher to help Max Crosby? We don't know what it is yet, but that division certainly, with the signing of Russell Wilson, with the trading for Khalil Mack, and the signing of J.C. Jackson, those are some really good guys that you could that have just entered that division, and it's going to be fun to watch that division next year.
Yeah, and I'm very excited to see them. I will look forward to buying a Khalil Mack Chargers jersey. I'm just saying, in our next episode, when we talk about our draft stuff, we're going to be wearing Chargers jerseys. We're going to be bandwagoning the Chargers all year. We know they're going to have an amazing defense.
Or, man, I could be rocking the Trubisky.
No.
I'm buying a Trubisky Steelers.
No.
I'm buying a Trubisky Steelers. There's no way. I have to get one of those Trubisky Steelers.
You could get that. I'll get the Mack Chargers, dude.
Trubisky will be a great quarterback for the Steelers next year. Mark my word, he will be a great quarterback for the Steelers. He will win them games.
Nonetheless, I think the Chargers are going to have an amazing defense next year, a hard-hitting defense with Joey Bosa on the front. They have Khalil Mack in the middle to offset him. And then they're going to have J.C. Jackson and Derwin James in the backfield, which is going to help them out tremendously. Especially they still got Austin Eckler. They got young Justin Herbert. They got the receiver, Mike Williams. They still got... Who else do they got? Oh, did they sign? All right, never mind. Yeah, that's pretty much all of our free agency news. There's
free agency news. We're gonna do a little segment we like to call QB Carousel. This is the quarterback carousel for teams who we think could be their quarterback for next season, and
who needs a quarterback? Who we think should go there?
We removed the Steelers from this list, and when we made the list, they had not made the signing of
Same with the Bucks.
The Bucks.
Tom Brady again.
True, Tom Brady. So
we got 4 teams on this list.
teams on this list now. Let's go to the Seahawks. Who do you see as a good fit? Maybe in the draft. Maybe in. I know you did a nice analysis on quarterbacks, which is like kind of your greatest fit, maybe for Seattle in the draft, or maybe for free agency. We know they got Drew Lock right now. Is that what they're gonna go with?
I don't think you go with Drew Lock this season. I don't think you have a decision. Maybe next season make a big move on a guy that has free agency. Maybe Kirk Cousins, even though he said he isn't great. Maybe he could help him go along the way. But they needed that long-term guy. So I think you use Drew Lock this season. Then you draft a quarterback next season when the quarterback class is better. Maybe get, Trey Young from... Trey Young from Alabama. He's a junior this year. He's going to be in the graduating class, the freshman class, the rookie class next year. But I think they should go with Drew Lock this year, see how he performs. If he's good, maybe start him next year. But I really want to see who they're going to go with. They could, basically.
Oh
God.
I'm a mess.
Yeah, I think don't go with Drew Lock this year. I mean, they got to go with Drew Lock this year. They do have. Who's the other backup guy? I forgot. But then, they got to go with Drew Lock this year, pick up a guy next year, possibly sign a guy this year. There is Malik Willis. None of the quarterbacks this year are phenomenal, but I think Malik Willis is going to go to a team possibly... He's going to... I don't think anyone in this QB draft is going to start. I think they're all going to be backups.
Malik Willis
is Malik
very
Willis,
interesting.
I'd like to see Malik Willis to the Seahawks. He is a strong guy. He is could they need, but I don't know.
Malik Willis is either going to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers or he's going to go to, oh my gosh, I just had the name of his team and then, oh my gosh, it's going to come back to me later, but.
We'll do it in our next episode when we cover it, college players. Next, we got the Colts.
Oh, there goes Julio.
No.
The Colts. Who's going to be their quarterback? They just traded away Carson Wentz.
They've traded away They've gone through 4 quarterbacks in the last 4 years. They had Andrew Luck. They've had Jacoby Brissett. They've had Phillip Rivers and Carson Wentz. That is a random lineup.
Very random.
Yeah, having Phillip Rivers in there. But yeah, I don't know who they go with. I don't think they should sign a current guy. Who is out there for quarterbacks right now?
You know what, the Colts, I definitely can say they can call up Minnesota, see about Kirk Cousins. I think you're going to have to give something for him. But look at, the Colts have been stuck with mediocre quarterback play. They have the team to move forward, but they haven't been able to do it because of their quarterback play. I mean, their best quarterback play was Phillip Rivers when they made it to the playoffs that year.
A lot of things that I'm thinking is kind of like, Mitch is kind of like on the Steelers. I think Mitch and Jimmy G are somewhat similar players. I see Jimmy G going to the Colts. Colts could make a move for him. The Niners haven't officially released him yet.
They're not going to release him, but the thing with the 49ers, there is no rush for the 49ers to. They have their quarterback. Trey Lance is their guy. Yeah. So there is no rush to say, hey, we'll trade to you right now. We're not going to. They can be kind of selfish in the fact that, hey, we don't want you in their system for a while. We want you to kind of struggle in their system for a bit. They can do that because they have their guy. They don't need to. Some other teams are just like, hey, can I have Jimmy G? Can I have Jimmy D? And, I mean, they're not going to move away unless they get a really good price, or they're going to wait till the last minute. You'll probably see at the last minute Jimmy G will be traded. But to which team, we don't know. There's a lot of teams hammering for some quarterbacks. We don't know as of right now. Who do you think is going to be starting quarterback of the Saints?
Saints? I think they keep Jameis Winston. He was great. I think they re-sign him. I want to go back to the Colts. I don't know what they're going to do. I think... what draft picks do they have? Did we cover that? Let me look that up.
I don't know. I don't know about the Colts, but I'll start with the Saints then. The Saints, I do think maybe Jameis Winston, and I think they might draft someone like a Malik Willis would be... or I've heard definitely trades for Deshaun Watson. I could see Deshaun Watson going there. That would be not a bad choice.
Saints. Another thing is I want to say the Colts, they don't have a first rounder. They have a round 2, 42nd overall, two round 3s, a round 4 or 5, and a 7, which they could get one of the late quarterbacks, one of the ones that doesn't get picked that they think has potential. We'll cover that.
How good are they?
Not going to be not a good quarterback class. They got to find a guy. I don't know who there is out there that they could get a somewhat young guy. Mitch is already gone. I don't know what they're going to give up for Jimmy G. Like we were saying, it's terrible that this Colts team is so good. They got JT. They got the weapons. They got the defense. They got DeForest Buckner. They got Quentin Nelson. They got an amazing line. They got an amazing defense. They're just that one quarterback away. They find a guy they could get, bring him there.
So we touched on the Saints a bit. Let's go to the Panthers. Backpedal the Panthers. Panthers are in a unique situation. I could see Malik Willis going there.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett is a very interesting option. He didn't have the biggest hands as
Small Hands.
Mr. Small Hands. And you did notice he wears 2 gloves, which is very interesting for a quarterback. I think Mike Vick did that.
Mike Vick, Peyton Manning, Teddy Bridgewater.
Peyton Manning didn't wear 2 gloves on his hands.
Did he?
No.
No, one.
Maybe for like really bad weather games, but I don't think he wore 2 for.
Yeah, but I think the Panthers they do one of 3 options. They draft one of 4 options. They draft a quarterback, stick with Sam Darnold, be stupid and stick with Cam Newton, or they go for Deshaun Watson.
They're paying a lot of quarterbacks right now.
They're in a tough situation.
Teddy Bridgewater, when they traded him, they're still paying Sam Darnold. They're still paying Cam Newton. They're going to have to pay another quarterback because I don't think any of those guys are the option. It's going to be interesting what they do. There's been some rumors maybe. I've heard Deshaun Watson. You hear every team going for Deshaun Watson now, but I do see that as a possibility. And Carolina would look out if they did have Deshaun Watson on their team.
Yep, I agree with that. And we're going to have a lot of news going into the future. The Colts, they're in a tough position. They have a team ready for them. They just don't have a quarterback. They need to make a move. They don't have Eberflus for their defensing it. So we got to see what happens there.
Yeah, they hired from within, so that's a good thing. And I think that kind of wraps up our news coverage for this episode.
We most definitely will have much, much more news coming into next week's episode, as we will have to write down all this stuff and keep track of it because free agents keep popping up left and right. We're not going to cover like the offensive linemen, even though offensive linemen are people too, but they're not big names that are getting traded. Really,
we'll touch on some bigger guys, some littler guys that are pretty good depth guys too. But this has been the Anytime Sports Podcast Show, and we'll catch you later.
See you Friday.
I be out of pocket, I be acting rude. Think I gotta chill, check my attitude. When you going start acting brand new, baby girl, you know that's what